Today I'm reading my viewers' most horrifying confessions while playing Minecraft. More specifically, I'm building a medieval-style house in my forever world. Anyway, let's begin. This one is titled, Getting Rabies in Kids Camp. I was an intern in a kid camp in summer, helping with daily activities, etc. 2 days before the kid camp ended, we did a scary night show for the kids, which resulted in catastrophe. I was tasked to hide behind some bushes and jump scare the children when they came by. When 2 girls were coming, I prepared myself, and when I wanted to jump scare them, a squirrel landed on me and started scratching me and biting me. Of course I panicked and screamed, but the squirrel then left. The girls pissed themselves when they heard me. I didn't care about it as much as I should have. However, I kept scaring kids until each and every one of them passed in the night trail. When I met up with my friends and colleagues, they said those scars didn't look good and I should check with the nurse, which I replied with, "Nah, I'm good, bro." But they forced me to go there. When the nurse saw me, her skin went pale and immediately called an ambulance. In the hospital, they did a variety of tests on me, and after a while came a doctor explaining I was attacked by a squirrel that had rabies. My face went blank as I felt nervousness and a small adrenaline hormones kick in, and the only word I could say was, "Cool." I'm not nonchalant or anything, I was just surprised. I was treated in the hospital and everything is fine now. Hope you're having a nice day. Dude, that's like one of the most irrational fears I think I have in general. When did I find out about rabies, really? Like, I just knew that it was a thing, that rabid dogs exist, and you shouldn't really just go in the wild and petting wild animals because they could bite you and have rabies. And I was like, okay, cool, it's just another disease. And one day I just randomly discovered that rabies is 100% fatal the moment the symptoms start showing up. So, yeah, I now think twice before petting random dogs and cats that I see in the street or anything. So yeah, if there's a lesson here, don't go interacting with wild animals that look like they want to bite you really badly, are scared of water, and are foaming at the mouth. The story is titled Bringe. What? When I was with my 3 friends, we went to the bridge. Oh, bridge. And there were 3 cars going under it. So we decided why not spit on one car. So we waited when a car came and all 3 of us spat on it. And when the car stopped, there were 2 old people there and they shouted at us, "What idiots, come clean my car now." And then we go down the bridge and we clean the car and we never told our parents. Okay, that's not that scary, but for, I'm assuming, teenagers at that point, if 2 older people start screaming at you because you spat in their car, you're going to think that you're in big trouble. So that's pretty funny though. Frogging or schizophrenia? What the absolute cluster? Frogging is the act of secretly living in another person's home. Okay, never heard of that one before. Hello, for the past couple of days, I have become convinced that someone is living in my house without me knowing it. It has just been small stuff. We have a little American flag that hangs on the wall. I came home from work and the flag was still on the wall, but higher than when I left. Sometimes if you walk past it, it will fall. It looked like someone had put it back after it fell. There was also a black spot, about the size of someone's finger, on the bathroom window. The window is broken, and can be opened even when it's locked. But it would be pretty much impossible to climb through because there's a giant rose bush in front of it. For the past couple of days, I have woken up at random times during the night, but I can't hear anything, as in hear a person. To my knowledge, we don't have any history of schizophrenia in my family, mostly ADHD from my dad's side, and what I expect is some type of emotional disorders. Bipolar, ? Something like that. From my mom's side, I genuinely have no idea what to do or how to bring it up without looking fucking crazy. Exhibit A, stop self-diagnosing because you have no idea what this could be if you actually have a problem. That being said, the flag being in a slightly different place than you left it, you might just be imagining, you might not be imagining. The black spot on the bathroom window, that's a little bit less easy to imagine, I think. But it could also be something as simple as bird poop. From what it sounds like, the easiest way to figure this out is set up a camera or something and record it for like a day while you're away or something. Or talk to a therapist and have this discussion with them. Maybe you need to actually see someone for it. Or maybe there is someone in your house and that is a slightly bigger problem, but that's a little bit harder to prove usually. Yeah, I don't know, man. I would say film, then talk to therapist, then go to worst case scenario. But best of luck to you. This one is titled Third Party. One night, my best friend and I were bored and decided to explore an abandoned building. After some searching, we found this massive old factory that looked like it had been inactive for decades. It was almost 1 a.m. when we climbed inside and started exploring. The first room we entered was huge, filled with piles of rubbish and, strangely, clothes. There were so many torn, dirty clothes scattered everywhere that you could barely see the ground. We both thought it was weird, but decided to keep going. We found a way deeper into the factory through a long, wide hallway with with only a few doors on each side. Every room we checked was completely empty except for more clothes covering the floor. Eventually we reached the end of the hallway and came across a heavy metal door. It led into 2 separate corridors. After debating for a while, we decided to split up and meet again if one of the paths was a dead end. So I went down my hallway alone with my flashlight. Not long after, I started feeling this strange coldness. It's so hard to describe, but it made me feel like something was off. Then I heard footsteps behind me. I jumped, spun around, and pointed my flashlight. It was just my friend. I let out a sigh of relief, but something about him looked off. His expression was strange, like he wasn't really looking at me. Before I could say anything, I heard more footsteps coming from the other end of the hallway, the way I had been heading. I told him to follow me to the corner so we could confront whatever it was together. Yeah, I know, bad idea. I leaned against the corner with my friend standing behind me as the footsteps got closer. Just as I was about to peek around the corner, I heard my friend's voice calling my name from the direction of the footsteps. My stomach dropped. I stepped out to look, and there he was, my real friend, waving at me from the entrance of the hallway. My whole body froze. My legs felt heavy, and my heart was pounding so loud it almost drowned everything else out. When I finally forced myself to turn around, there was nothing there. Whatever it was had disappeared. My friend asked what happened, but I didn't say a word. I just told him we needed to leave now. We didn't talk about it until we got home. That is actually pretty scary because this is a really good description, first of all. You should be a storyteller. You know what it is about some of these? Like, I also used to be like an abandoned building exploration type and kind of still am. It's really fun, but at the same time, like, doing it at night is the stupidest thing you can ever do because you don't know who could be in those buildings. There could be a homeless person in there. There could be some sort of drug addict. There could be just some other crazy person doing some other activities that he's not supposed to be doing. But yeah, to have someone behind you, whether you hallucinated that or not, is that looks like your friend, and then discovering that it's not your friend is not. I personally wouldn't go back to exploring anything ever again either. I don't know about you. But yeah, I'm glad you made it out safe, and if you did ever figure out what that was, let us know in the comments below. This one is titled, I think I may have broken my cat's hip. Okay, so this was years ago. I would have been around 8, and I may be misremembering details of it, so bear with me. One day, I was outside of my house's deck. It was quite elevated off the ground on one side, as the house was on the hill, and I remember thinking about cats' innate ability to land on their feet. I already know where this is going. You can imagine where I'm going with it. This guy predicted it. You can imagine where I'm going with this. I got my cat, and not once, not twice, but at the minimum 3 times, dropped him off a high no shorter than 1 story, probably a little over, and even had him upside down and watched him go down. For those that don't understand what story means here, it means like a floor of a building. I felt awful about it after having a moment of clarity, and I tried my best to apologize for him, but he was understandably petrified of me. That same cat turned up with a broken hip. I can't remember the exact timeline, hence my note at the beginning, but if it was close enough, then I'm pretty sure I'm responsible for that. I never made a connection at the time, which leads me to believe maybe he didn't actually face injury at that moment. But the fact that I did in the first place and the possibility that I caused his injury haunted me until the day he died, about a year ago. He apparently walked funny. I never told my family what I did. Yeah, honestly, that's pretty sad. That is a very sad thing to do. Dude, kids are just ruthless. Like, the curiosity of, like, will this happen or will that happen sometimes gets the better of you. Like, the intrusive thought wins more often than not. That's why humans are known to have committed so many atrocities in their existence. But yeah, let's keep it at that and not commit any more very harmful things to animals, shall we? But hey, you're not happy about it. You feel guilty for it, so as long as you learned your lesson. This one is titled, I have a craving question that if I killed someone, would it affect me? Okay, this is the level up. I don't know how to word this because I've never told anyone this, not even my closest of friends or my closest family members. For the past few years, I've been wondering what it would be like to kill somebody, more specifically a bad person. I want to also first start by saying I don't want to kill innocent people. I question how my psychological health and physical health would react or be. What would it smell like? The gore. Sometimes I even wonder if I would laugh at them. Or just laughing at dead things in TV shows and real life. I've even had dreams of me doing said acts. Majority torturing bad people, laughing and having extreme joy. I don't want to get into Crave details because I don't want to get your video demonetized. For the past few years, I've been wondering, would this affect me? And if so, how? I'm currently trying to join the military, hoping to go into combat and try and see what it's like. I wish I could have an excuse as to why I crave this, but I just don't. I want to tell my family and everybody the truth, but I don't know how. You know what? This is not the first version of this I've read in these stories. First things first, you have to understand that this is something that you should consider talking to a licensed professional about. A psychiatrist, psychologist, anything of the sort. Because this has the potential to become very real. As you're saying, you want to go into the military in order to see what killing is like. And potentially torturing, okay? This is not a normal thought for someone to have. Like, we can all be honest here. We've all thought of probably killing someone or hurting someone that we don't like at some point in our lives. But this is a very specific, detailed extent of curiosity that, again, has led to many Netflix documentaries about people doing very bad things. It always starts like this. So, I would tell your parents, I would tell a therapist, I would tell any of the sorts, just don't tell your parents to get you a therapist, right? This is a conversation that needs to happen, and very quickly at that. Do not let this go unchecked, because you might find yourself doing something that you really don't want to do. So good luck, and don't kill anyone. This one is titled Gatorade Pisser. Oh, God. Saw a bottle of Gatorade placed on a urinal in the school bathroom. Half full. Pissed in it. Really couldn't tell you why. Just thought, f it, why not? Put it in my bag for shits and giggles. Kid saw it during lunch and asked for a sip. I gave him the whole bottle and left. Never saw him again. Oh, brother. Like, this is one of those NPC moments. I can't even be, that's not really a horrifying story, but it's just kind of funny. Like, I feel like some people wish they had the balls to do something like that. When you say never saw him again, do you mean like that rest of the day, or just straight up bro never showed up at school again? Because this is, that is kind of insane. Please let me know if there's an update to him figuring that out. This one is called I've been dating my cousin for almost 2 years now. Okay, I need to get a sound effect for the amount of incest that we have in these videos, but okay. Okay, so first thing I want to say is technically we're second cousins, if that makes this any better. No, it doesn't make it any better, because when you start using the word technically around anything with incest, it's usually not what you're saying it is, okay? About 2 years ago, my cousin wanted to take me to his family vacation house to celebrate my 18th birthday. We're both gay and often bonded over that because living in a small town, you don't meet many others like us. While we were watching a movie, the time felt right and we started kissing. That eventually led to more than that happening. We now live together in an apartment as roommates, and we tell our family that we feel more like brothers because we're so close. For obvious reasons, we never told them what's actually going on. I constantly wonder if I should tell our family, but he remains very against it, and I understand why. I'm just so confused on what to do now. Okay, so there's the only one saving grace here, is that if you guys are gay, that means you have the same hardware downstairs. That means you cannot create new life. So therefore, you don't have that problem, which is usually the biggest problem here. On the other side of that coin, second cousins is not the worst thing. It's not illegal. It's not, I mean, people are going to find out eventually. You may as well tell them sooner than later. Or keep it a secret forever and just have that anxiety looming over you. Both work, but I would just out with it. Because again, there's nothing really that's going to happen. Like I said, you're not going to have a kid together, at least not a biological one. So, you guys do you, man, if it works for you. This one is titled, You Must Not Try This, in capital letters. Okay, so me and my friend were 15-year-old high school students and addicted to creepy videos like ghosts caught on CCTV cameras. I think we have watched at least 400 plus of those videos. However, we made the worst decision of doing something crazy and terrifying out of curiosity, or I think hormones. We decided to investigate an abandoned apartment. So 3 to 4 kilometers away from our locality, there was an abandoned apartment. It was not even completed. It was left in the middle of its construction due to some legal issues. I don't know. Me and my friend decided to visit that apartment and started preparing for it. On a Saturday evening at 6:45 p.m., we met at the parking area of our society with 2 baseball bats and a phone. We arrived at that building and entered it. The floor was messed up with moisture, plants, and algae. Also, I think that apartment was now used as a garbage disposal area. We explored the building, but didn't find anything crazy. However, when we entered the basement, it was cleaner than the other parts of the apartment. I mean, way too cleaner. Also, we witnessed our death sitting in front of us. There was a 30 to 35-year-old man, or a beggar, or a robber, or a criminal. He watched us and ran behind us. I think on that day we were taught a lesson by God. He chased us out of the building. I took my phone and called the police. Police arrived by the time we were home. However, we informed the police and they investigated the building and caught the man and arrested him. I don't know what they did with him, but yes, we were both slapped by our respective fathers. This thing happened in 2010, I guess, because after that, all these YouTube videos of abandoned buildings exploration became popular. I think we're the first ones to experience these things. However, one day I asked about that person from my father. He told me that he was freed by the police and was not a criminal. He was just a homeless guy. Yeah, once again, I mentioned this earlier in a different story. Abandoned buildings are dangerous for more than one reason. People roam them, homeless people, people that are doing nefarious acts. The buildings are unstable, crumbling even. There could be mysterious gases to inhale. Just not a great idea to go exploring them, but people do it anyway. So just be very careful. This one is titled, I almost got shot in the face when I was 7. Wow. Okay. When I was little, we had just recently moved into a new house. We were very poor after this new house because of bad planning, but long story short, I'd have to be at my dad's house half of the time and at my mom's the other half because of financial issues. But a wrench was thrown in when my dad got evicted. Instead of going to my dad's house, I had to live at my grandma's apartment. And long story short, she was ruthlessly addicted to hard drugs and used to put meth in her coffee, even when I was there. One day she had someone over. In retrospect, it was probably a drug dealer, and he was crazy. When my grandma had to go to the bathroom, he pulled out his gun and pointed it at my face. He pretended to pull the trigger and then started talking about gun safety, and he took out the mag, emptied the chamber, and then actually pulled the trigger, talking about how the gun is loaded and such. Later on, my grandma and my mom got in a domestic dispute when my grandma wouldn't let us leave her apartment and then got in a fist fight, and the aftermath was her freaking out and moving all the way to Wisconsin. 7 years later, she's back in town and mooches off my uncle for a living. Alright, so almost getting shot by a drug dealer might have to be one of the scariest ones, if not the scariest one on this list so far, and honestly, I don't think anyone's going to be able to top it. That is insane. This obviously is not a very healthy family and living situation. I'm very sorry that you had to go through that. That is quite terrifying. I don't even know how I would react. Like, as a 7-year-old, do you even really understand the concept of being shot and killed? Like, I really don't even remember. Like, what is a 7-year-old brain going to do with that information? I'm sure it's scary, no matter what. I guess if you've seen any sort of movie with violence and guns in it, you understand the concept of death and being shot to death. So that can't be good. But I'm glad you didn't get shot in the face by a drug dealer at 7. This one is titled, My Middle School Teacher Did It With My Friends. Ah, yes. Another school teacher that needs to not be a school teacher. I'm not kidding. This is true. There was an extremely weird teacher in our school that would be so weird to the students in our class, she would just touch the males in class so weirdly, like slide her hand down the students to their chest. Literally a couple of days later, my boy told me what happened with the teacher. The teacher mainly forced him into it, but he of course got some benefits, A+. Once again, to prove I'm not lying, search up Chelsea Jane Edwards. This will take you to the case on her. Let's look up Chelsea Jane Edwards. A female teacher previously facing trial accused of grooming a 15-year-old male student for sexual abuse has had all charges against her dropped, of course. You know what? I wonder how this would have gone if it was the opposite direction. Also, why do they never show the picture of these people? This is her, college graduation photo. Dude, whenever women do anything inappropriate towards underage boys, this kind of seems to be the case. But, oh well. In any case, I'm sorry that happened to your friend, and that is pretty scary to think about. This one is titled, Befriending Obsessed Viewers Backfired Horribly. Okay, I'm going to assume this is a content creator. Hello, Nico. When I started my YouTube channel at age 13, I really wanted to be seen and wanted attention. Every new subscriber and person rooting for me meant the world to me, and I was really proud of my, back then, high-quality content I still tirelessly make to this day. This resulted in many people wanting to see who I really am, and not having anything else to do, I decided to make a Discord server, reaching out to and befriending every single one of my viewers. Many years later now, this is not possible anymore, looking at the amount of people. But this led to some very terrifying stories in the past. For example, when I was 16, there was this girl, one of my viewers, who was really obsessed with me. The entire thing turned into a parasocial relationship quickly, like in many other cases, because individual viewers often think they mean something special to me, just because I respond to them. Even though I was just responding to everybody, which already then was taking up a big part of my day. I was some kind of an idol to her, and she decided she wants to spend as much time with me as possible. Therefore, she started sending death threats to my best friend, believing that if she was able to somehow kill him, she would be able to spend all the time in the world with me. Just me. This situation turned even worse with details I don't want to touch on. But just know she was asking for very specific pictures and this way betraying her boyfriend she almost stopped talking to, all because of me and my friend. I immediately cut contact with her to this day after finding out. If you're interested in any more detail, feel free to ask and I'll fill in the next Google form under the next video too. But so far, this is the most terrifying thing that's happened to me as a creator. Really hope that she grows up and maybe in a few years, I can talk to her about the whole thing. Okay, so here, I'm going to say this very plainly and politely. To anyone who watches YouTubers and is obsessed with some sort of creator, it doesn't even have to be a YouTuber. It could be a YouTuber, it could be an actor, it could be anyone that you're crushing on that has some sort of social status or fame. You are not their friend, okay? Unless specifically, directly indicated through this person, you're not their friend. They're not your buddy. To everyone watching this video, I don't know you just because I read your stories. You don't know me from what you see online. I only show a very specific version of myself online, and then there's a whole version of myself offline that you guys don't know. Whether or not they overlap is a completely different story. YouTubers are not your friends, okay? They are entertainers. That is first and foremost. Some YouTubers are more real with their audience and with themselves. I like to believe I'm one of those people. And then there are others that are just straight up, like the moment the cameras are off, they're completely different people. It is very unhealthy to do stuff like this. And to any other fellow content creators, if you let your viewers in, be very careful because you give people an inch, they take a mile. It's just kind of how the cookie crumbles with that. And I've also had to learn this lesson. You know, everyone kind of goes through that sort of thing. Luckily with me, I've been lucky. I haven't had any sort of like stalker situations or anything completely parasocial happen. But especially with the whole life advice thing, people do sort of go into that direction. I'm going to say this for everyone right now. I am not your friend, okay? I'm just an internet guy. I do not exist the moment you turn off your monitor. I do not exist the moment you turn off your computer. So let that be known. So regardless, as a content creator, yes, interact with your fans. They're your fans, okay? That's fine. But make sure you set boundaries and make sure you stick to them because the lines are blurred and you then end up like, well, unfortunately, a lot of other Minecraft YouTubers. Honestly, dude, I'm curious. I'm curious of how big of a channel you had when this happened. So I would like to know more in the comments, but you're probably too high of profile of a person to have this conversation. So if you're down, send me an email. I'm very curious to know more if you would like. This one is titled, I Caused a Kid to Go Missing. Back when I was young, my parents sent me to summer camp. I met these kids there that I became friends with. One day, we wanted to know what was beyond the fence blocking kids from going into the woods. I was too scared to do it, so I dared a kid in our group to do it, and he agreed. We waited until the counselors weren't looking, and he climbed the fence. The fence wasn't see-through, so we could only talk to him. He described what he saw, and he wandered further into the woods. Eventually, we couldn't hear anything from him, and we got scared. We came up with a story and told the counselors who took a look themselves. Eventually, the police showed up, and they also couldn't find him. I don't remember much else after that, but I'm guessing the police searched for a few days. I never told anyone I had dared him to do it, and I don't think they ever found the kid. Dude, that is... You know what the messed up thing about that is? He might be fine, but you have no idea. So that's like just a thing that just sits with you. Because on one hand, you know what it is? It's not like it's your fault. This kid did that himself. It's not like you guys forced him. You dared him, sure, kind of a peer pressure thing. But it's like, it's just an unfortunate situation because 9 times out of 10, the kid is probably coming back. But that is terrifying to think about. Like it really easily could have been you that disappeared that day and never came back from that. Kids, if you're gonna do stuff like climb over fences that there's no visibility for or anything of the sort, don't. Or if you do, take your friends with you because at the very least, it's strength in numbers, you know? This one is titled, I got stabbed in the chest by my best friend. So this was around January of 2018. I was about 13, give or take. Me and my best friend, she was a girl, I'm still a dude, we're trying to reenact that one scene from The Punisher. And sadly, it got a bit too realistic. If you remember the scene, Kevin Nash was accidentally stabbed by Thomas Jane when he forgot to swap a real knife out for a prop one. So what happened was I was trying to be Kevin, and she was trying to be Thomas Jane. We were really stupid, as the title says, and you can probably tell what happened next. I got stabbed in the left lung and it collapsed. Luckily, I made a full recovery, and now I'm dating her. It was quite the experience. Anyway, love your videos. Why the f*** did we try to recreate that scene, bruh? I mean, it's kind of cute that you guys are dating now, but This is one clip from a movie where Tom Hardy gets stabbed in the heart by his wife, and he's just like nonchalantly, "It's okay, I'll be fine," and just walks off. That's what this kind of reminds me of. But yeah, don't play with knives, people. Like what? This is like one of the first things your parents teach you. Don't play with knives. Don't be stupid. Average 13-year-old dumbassery arc. This one is titled The Real Party Experience. I've been to house parties before, and honestly they've been enjoyable/tame. However, when I got added to a group chat with at least 100 other people, I knew this would be different. Come to the night of the event, the first thing I see is people high off their minds doing balloons, nitrous oxide, falling over in their awful slurred speech. Half an hour in, I come to the upstairs bathroom of the house to see this girl vomiting her guts into the sink whilst there's literal cum on the walls. After that, I took a conscious effort to look out for my friends until I realized one wasn't at the venue. Turns out they had taken some shady substances right before they had ventured out to get more drinks. What happened next was no surprise. No shit, my friend OD'd, and they had to be rushed back to the house, not the hospital though, or else they'd be cooked. For half an hour, I just watched them until they finally woke up. Naturally, as we were gearing to leave, another drunk girl fell into the TV and broke it, whilst a fight broke out in the garden. Overall, one of my crazy experiences, and a scary one for sure. House parties are overrated. Don't do drugs, kids. Okay, so you're saying your friend OD'd, whatever. There's two versions of OD. There's OD when they've just overused the drug. And then there's the OD where they're seizing, throwing up, and not able to function, and are possibly going to die. What you need to do when you're in that situation, you don't just leave your friend there for half an hour and hope they wake up. Because I promise you, whatever trouble you're going to be in is not going to be worse than the possibility of this person dying. Because then, guess what? You're all accessories to murder. Or accessories to manslaughter, or any sort of accessory of somebody dying. Please take your friends to the hospital, even if it's not the worst case scenario, because it can easily turn into the worst case scenario, and you could go to jail. If you have friends in need that are ODing in any capacity, just call a goddamn ambulance. This one is titled Slinky of Doom. One time, me and my cousin at his house were watching scary videos when we were home alone. We were like 8 years old, and we were in his room and the door was shut. The door suddenly flung open and we freaked out. We got up and shut it and went back to watching the videos. But then it flung open again. And so we got up to investigate. We split up and looked around the house to see what was happening. We both noted that there was a Slinky on the dining room table. Once we came back from investigating the whole house, we went into the kitchen and saw the Slinky connected to the top part of 2 chairs. This was our final straw, and we freaked out and bursted out crying. Our grandma was out shopping and she left her phone at home, so we stood in the kitchen crying, and then his sister appeared and laughed at us for falling for the prank. Bro, that is a W prank from the sister, I'm not gonna lie. I love stories like this because this is a genuinely terrifying thing for an 8-year-old. And then you find out like, oh, this is a real story because it was someone pranking you. It was not anything paranormal because, as we all know, the likelihood of it being paranormal is very, very slim to none. But then again, you never know. For example, I'm sure if you look behind you right now, you're probably going to see something pretty strange. And then question whether or not this whole thing of you watching this video is paranormal with the fact that there's something strange behind you. Did I get anyone? Anyone? Was there anything weird behind you? Everybody leave a comment if you saw something strange behind you when I just said that. This one is titled, My Father Tried to Kill Me Because of My Brother. Okay. When I was 13, I woke up one morning and couldn't speak. No sounds came out of my mouth. I went to a doctor and got diagnosed with laryngitis and prescribed some Deltasone. My father only sees me and my older brother on Sundays, but since he couldn't make it, he showed up on Monday. I told him what was happening, and he even showed me a trick where I could whisper and it would somewhat work like speaking. Later, he spoke to my brother, 17 at the time, told him that I was faking it because he heard me sneeze once. My father calls me upstairs, closes my bedroom door behind me, pins up against the wall in the closet, and grips me by the throat and started pressing down on it. He started saying he didn't want to, quote, hear any of my bullshit, end quote, ever again, and to, quote, stop saying all of this shit, end quote, while gripping harder and harder until my vision started to get blurry. He lets me go and I immediately lunge my way to the door. He then grabs my shoulder, turns around, and starts asking me, what's wrong? Why are you immediately bolting to the door? Are you afraid of me? And begins lecturing me, although I don't remember any of it since I was actively fearing for my life. That was a few months ago now, and realized more of what my whole family is doing to me. I've since then begun planning a way to escape, get myself emancipated, something. I'm hoping soon I'll be successful. Thank you for your time. Damn, that is very sad. That is very rough. I am very sorry to hear that. That is a very, very tense situation. that needs to be handled with care. I don't know if you have like a counselor or something you can talk to at your school, or anything that you can discuss this with your family, or even your mom. I mean, does your mom know about this? And if she does, then maybe, I guess, not tell her. But I don't know, man. If you want to get emancipated, that's a very intense situation. Like, I would strongly suggest talking to someone about this. Just be careful it doesn't cause you any more harm, and best of luck to you. Hallows Eve when I was 12. Just a quick note, I call it Hallows Eve because I'm strange like that. Bro, not the I'm quirky like that line. Background, I was born and growing up in Washington, D.C. I have nice friends, and I'm a cool jazz musician. That is all. This event still scares me to this day, and I would like to share it. Back in 2022, I was able to go trick-or-treating with my only 2 friends for the first time in my life, so I put on my Stormtrooper armor and met up with my friends, one going as an Imperial commander and another a Stormtrooper. We love Star Wars. Most of the night was simple, easy trick-or-treating, but near the end as we were coming back, someone came up to a kid across the street and started stabbing him with a damn knife. Because of the stupid tinted glass and limited vision of the helmet obstructed my view, I only knew of it because of my friend, who was the commander, and the commotion between the distracted parents. The kid was okay, and from what I heard, made a recovery. The guy was caught as my friend called the police. That's not the scary part. While I was readying for a jazz performance the next day, I heard a noise outside my window. You can see where this is going. A grown man rushed out of the shadow and presses his face on the window. I could make out him saying, quote, "Nice sax there, buddy. Now could you let me in," end quote. I noticed a huge bread knife in his hand, and he said, "I kid you not, quote, let's break bread, kid," end quote. At this point, I was so terrified I had forgotten to scream. So I did so. And the guy just waited there and let the cops take him. I hear he's in jail for life. This was overall traumatizing and terrifying for me. Hope this helps your next story video. Dude, this sounds like it's straight out of a horror movie. I'm not even lying to you. Like, that line sounds like a cheesy horror movie line. This kind of sounds a little fake, but if it is real, can you imagine just a guy with a bread knife at your window just waiting for you to let him in to basically stab you? Like, what do you do there? Do you, like, call someone? Do you throw shit at him? Like, what do you even do? I guess I would maybe try and lock myself in my room, or maybe go find a weapon. I don't know. In any case, thank you for sharing that. That is pretty terrifying. Hopefully that guy is in jail for life. This one is just titled, "This is a Wild One." For some context, I'm a young woman. This happened late at night. I get off the public transport. The person who was supposed to pick me up hadn't arrived yet, so I had to wait by lounging in the area by myself for like 20 minutes. I'm a very anxious person, so I was looking at my surroundings. It was late at night after all. After a couple of minutes, I felt being stared at. I slightly glanced behind me, and I realized the man was looking at me while he smoked something. I felt extremely uncomfortable, but I decided not to move and keep track of how long he would stay there and look at me. After 10 minutes, I realized that something weird was going on since he didn't blink or even look away. Now I was freaking out. I started calling anyone I knew. Nobody picked up. I wanted to go to tell the worker, but he wasn't where he was supposed to be. I decided to go hide against a wall so he couldn't see me. Honestly, I wouldn't be in the situation if the driver decided to stay because they had arrived 20 minutes earlier, but then they decided to go to a bar. I was honestly lost on what to do. I tried asking for help from strangers, but all they would do was continue with their way. That terrified me the most, because I realized how truly alone I was. Eventually, the driver called me and told me to go to a parking lot, since they would arrive in 5 minutes. When I left the station, I realized that the man was following me outside. It was fully dark. I was now horrified. When I looked back, the guy made it seem like he was on his phone. Fortunately, my pickup quickly came and I left. I never saw him again. Honestly, this whole experience slightly traumatized me. Let's say I would never take public transport after dark. That is, yeah, dude. In general, if you're a young woman in any of the Western world countries especially, going on public transport after dark, you have to be very aware of your surroundings. You have to be very careful because people are very, very shitty, to say the least, okay? Have someone you can call, have mace with you, have whatever you need to do. It's very sad that that is the case, but it's just something that you should practice. If you can avoid public transport later at night, please try and do so. And yeah, just stay safe out there. And also screw everyone that wasn't helping you out in any way. Like, if someone is in distress, and especially something like that, just take a minute and just maybe sit with this person. You know, maybe just act like you're a friend until the guy leaves. Anything like that. Like, I get the whole stranger danger thing, but I don't know, man. Stay safe. This one is titled, "I am a war criminal." Okay. Hello, my name is Sebastian. I grew up in a remote and very bad area of Colombia, and at 15 joined a self-defense army which fights terrorists. We were sent on a mission to kill terrorists at a camp in the jungle, and when we got there, they surrendered after a short battle. We interrogated them, and after we finished, we killed them. I personally shot one in the chest and killed him. I do not feel so bad because he was a terrorist and would have killed me and my family in the same way. I have now moved to Bogota, and I'm working in computers. Nobody knows about the terrorists I killed. Okay, this is a pretty intense short story. Does someone just make this up? I don't think they do. If you actually did do this and you're willing to mention in the comments below, I guess I'd love to know more details, but also, I don't know if that's even safe for you to mention if you were part of some sort of a self-defense militia. I hope your work with computers is definitely more fulfilling and interesting than you shooting terrorists at 15, but god damn. Stuff like this just makes you appreciate not everywhere in the world is a nice, safe place, and you should be very grateful for the things you have and don't have, because who knows? It could have been me or you at 15 who had to join an organized militia in the middle of Colombia to deal with terrorists. In any case, I'm gonna go to the next one. Best of luck to you. This last one is called Middle School Science Teacher Caught Fapping on Lunch Break. Oh my god, bro. Yay, more creepy teachers. This was about 10 years ago when it happened. It was in my last year of middle school at the time. We were maybe a couple of months into the school year at this point, and it started off pretty well. I was getting good grades, staying out of drama, and generally doing pretty good. Then out of nowhere, my school sent out a letter to all parents that one of the science teachers was arrested for possession of CP. Apparently, he was on his lunch break before one of his classes and was fapping to CP behind his desk. Absolutely vile behavior. Thankfully, it wasn't a student who caught him and came to light when they caught him in the act in the security footage. Bless whoever it was who had the misfortune of viewing that footage and seeing that abominable act unfold. They raided his house, or his parents' house rather, and they found multiple hard drives full of CP in his basement bedroom. It was sickening. He taught 7th grade science, and I was in 9th grade at the time, so thankfully I never had him as a teacher. The school was in total shock when it happened, and it was the only thing students were chatting about for the next couple of weeks after it happened. It was absolutely appalling that there were some teachers who defended him, saying, quote, "He's just a person, people make mistakes," end quote. Yeah, well, that was one of the worst mistakes you can make, and it hardly feels like a mistake when you have to go out of your way to get such despicable content. Bro, you're preaching to the choir. That sort of thing just doesn't happen on accident. It's not just an oopsie, my bad, it won't happen again moment. He later confessed to having plans of putting hidden cameras in the boys' bathroom to watch them do their business. He thankfully never went through with it, but the thought of such a scenario is sickening, especially since I could have been involved in that scenario. I only have a couple of experiences with this vile creature, thankfully. He filled in as a sub for one of my language arts classes a couple of times, and it was glued to his iPad the entire time. He didn't even really teach anything. And now knowing what he was hiding in the closet, I don't want to begin to imagine the vile things he was probably doing on that iPad. It was all over the local news at the time. Oh, and there's a link for us to look this up. Let's see, what does it say? Dude, if this does not look like the absolute final boss of CP having Discord moderator looking head ass, I don't know what does. Oh god, a West Jordan middle school teacher was arrested on CP charges after the search warrant was served on his home, admitted to having 20 to 25 videos of CP in his external hard drive. Dude, how do they just have hard drives upon hard drives of this stuff? Why is it always like multiple terabytes of it? It's never just they had one video. It's always like the absolute Library of Alexandria of CP in your basement. Why? I guess we know the why, but that's a different story. Also, complete side note here, if you're going to do such a deplorable thing, why would you risk watching it in the school that you work around people with security cameras and everything of the sort? Like, how addicted, how vile is that obsession for you to be willing to do something that stupid? Ugh, okay, I think that's enough for one day. Thank you all so much for watching. Now for the next video, I want you guys to submit your funniest confessions. And when I say funny, I don't mean every poop story on the planet. I will not be reading those. The forum link will be in the description below. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed. And as always, good night and good luck, everybody.